Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Klein Connect here, and a special guest today, owner Greg Oatey. Taking some time out of your day. Greg, thanks so much, and thanks for coming on the show. And just thought we'd kind of talk a little bit about the weekend. Up in Bismarck on Saturday, and of course home here at the Oatey Ice Center on Friday night. A couple of big wins. And Friday night, of course, ended up going into a shootout. Riley Murphy with the game winner on his stick. A real evenly matched game throughout that one, I thought. But it was an entertaining game for sure. What were your thoughts?
Pretty much the same. It was a very competitive game. To me, this early in the season, it almost had the semblance of a playoff-style hockey game. Everybody was playing it pretty tight and pretty tough, and both teams, give it their best effort, and it showed that both teams are, at this time in the season, I think, are pretty close.
Yeah.
When you go to a shootout to win, it means it was a pretty even game.
Without a doubt. Going into the game, statistically, they were, you look at things that were pretty evenly matched anyway, so it wasn't a huge surprise. But then the Wings go up to Bismarck on Saturday and really dominated through the first two periods. But Bismarck didn't go away, and they found their way to claw their way back into it, got us some momentum and some juice, and the building started getting excited. Next thing you know, it's 5-5, and we're going to overtime, which I think caught a lot of people by surprise. But that was a really entertaining game, too. And as I said, the first two periods, it was all Wings. But then Bismarck clawed their way back in. What were your thoughts there? I know you were there with the fan
The bus, yeah. I was sure glad I was there, too. I'd say it was really worthwhile to be there for that game. The first two periods of that game, I thought we played as well as almost any Wings team I've ever seen in a period and a half or two periods of hockey. I mean, it was unbelievable. I actually thought in my own mind, sitting there, it's sort of stupid, but that we could play with the Minnesota Wild as good as we were playing.
Yeah.
And that's really how the first two periods went.
Definitely looked good. And then they get a little, like Coach Langer said, some pucks with eyes. They get a few bounces going their way, but you got to give them credit. They were tenacious and didn't go away, didn't quit, and it'd be easy enough to do that when you're down 5-1. But they get a power play goal. They start to get some momentum, and then they tied it up with like a minute 37 left. What did you think about the third?
Well, I skipped over the first a little bit. Riley Murphy's goal was unbelievable. You did a great job of calling it. I mean, it was as good as good could be. And going into the third, it was their teddy bear night. So I had these thoughts running through my head. We've had one teddy bear game. I think it was Scott's first year here, where Bismarck shut us out. I always thank them for that. But our fans sat to the end of the game and then tossed the teddy bears after the game was over. So I was thinking, God, we might do this to Bismarck. Not that I really wanted to, because it's sort of a hard thing to go through, but thought crossed my mind. And so they get that goal, teddy bears fly, beautiful deal, good cause. And Bismarck got a veteran team with veteran players, and they came hard.
Yeah.
And our guys had really put a lot into the first two periods. And I just kept thinking after they made it 5-2 or 5-1, 5-2, 5-3. I thought, sooner or later this will level out.
Mm-hmm.
But they just kept coming, and then that last goal they got to tie it up, it's like, well, this is a true test for our boys now.
Yeah. And then to backtracking, we're going to have Riley on here in a little bit. I want to talk to him about that. But that goal that he scored, I was shocked. I mean, he looked like an NHLer skating against a high school team or something. That was a great goal. Anyway.
That was a Patrick Kane type goal.
Yeah.
Really, so I think Patrick Kane beat the Wild last night. For some reason, my DVR I didn't do anything yesterday except watch 3 football games and a hockey game. And my DVR got mixed up on me, and I missed the third period of the Wild game, but I heard Patrick Kane maybe pulled one of his famous moves, which we'll call a Murphy move now, I guess.
Yeah. There you go.
Did you remember we played Tuesday night, too? Did you guys cover that game already? On last week's coach's show?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Yeah, that was a big – I'm going to Minot on a Tuesday night. 3 games in less than 5 or 6 days, and come out with 6 points. I don't want to get too gloaty here, but that was a major accomplishment.
Yeah. Well, and now that you mentioned it, the coach's show was the day before, so we talked about it, going into the game, but haven't recapped it. You're right. I almost forgot about that. There gets to be so many games in so short a period of time. My memory is a little short, but yeah, that was a great game up in Minot, and that was one of the things that I was going to talk about too, was the point streak, win streak. It just seems like this team is really turning a corner. And I mentioned it with Coach Langer last week that, and he kind of agreed that he felt like they were definitely taking the right steps. So it's awesome to see. And like we were talking about, then to go to the shootout, the shootout on Friday, overtime on Saturday, and just 17 seconds in, you have Murphy coming up the near side and Nielsen flying up the far side. And in my mind, as soon as I saw Nielsen flashing, I thought, this is it. And Murphy hits him with the pass, and the game was over just like that. And the Wings win at 6-5 in overtime. And as we talked about, the win streak continues, the point streak continues, and the Wings are on top of the division now. And it's really been fun to see this team evolve.
It was, I was watching, had a pretty good view. I sat across from the Wings bench this time and up Saturday night and had a good view of the body language and the coaching on both teams. Mm-hmm. It's quite something to see that what Bismarck did to come back. And I was just looking at our guys and just trying to see how they were going to react. I don't think they really quit, but it was just, you had a good view of it too. And I think it was sort of weird. It's like, it seemed like the whole third period that any puck that we touched did you notice it was on edge or like the puck was square?
Rolling and stuff. Yeah.
Nothing laid flat for us.
Yeah.
I mean, not one puck. I just followed it. And it's hard to do anything. And when you're always in that position and the body language, and then, like you said, they gathered it up for the overtime. And I know one of Bismarck's so-called ex-announcers thought that we celebrated too much for winning that game because we give up 4 goals in the third. Well, I look at it the other way. We learned a lot from that game. Mm-hmm. We outplayed him and we won the game, so who cares?
Well, and honestly, that was something that Coach Langer talked about, on the bus a little bit afterwards, that it was a learning experience. Because you make some mental errors. Next thing you know, they score a goal or two, and you can't let off. And it's up in Minot a few weeks ago now. There was 2-3 minutes, and it ended up where they score 3 goals, just bang, 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 and it just goes to show that it can turn in a hurry with if you let your guard down for even a minute. So again, it was a good learning experience for sure. Moving ahead, well, before we get to St. Cloud, but I wanted to talk a little about the fan bus because it's kind of cool. Not a lot of teams have that and have the ability for their fans to travel to games. And of course, last year, Brookings just down the road. That was a quick and easy trip. Bismarck now the closest. But that's pretty cool. And I know that a lot of the fans really enjoy being able to ride together and, the whole camaraderie of it all. But then on top of it, of course, to take in a game where wouldn't be able to do so otherwise. Pretty cool.
It was, the roads were good. We had to cancel a few trips to Brookings last year because of bad weather. We don't really want to, it is a fan, it's a party bus. Not really so much a party, but just a fun bus. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to push it in bad weather, but the roads were good. We went up, got to Bismarck a little early, did a little pre-gaming at Sicky's, had a nice burger, and the Bismarck fans there were really nice to us. I really appreciated how we got treated up there, and I think everybody that rode the bus had a really good time.
Yeah. Well, and last year, of course, the Wings fan bus went up to Minot for the playoff game, and we heard the same thing. Everybody was just saying how Minot was so gracious and we're just great hosts. And then, of course, the fan bus went to the championship game, and I know I've heard from a lot of people that they say that they will never forget that. It was one of the highlights of their life. So it's been great to have that.
Like you said, it's a little more difficult now with Brookings moving to St. Cloud. But the Bismarck trip was okay. It went pretty fast. We're going to try and do 1 or 2 more.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to that and let you folks know, of course, through social media and through this show and so on, when those trips will be taking place. Well, we talked about it. Brookings obviously has moved to St. Cloud, and I can't believe that it's almost Christmas and the Wings have not played St. Cloud yet. But for the first time, the Wings will see the St. Cloud Blizzard. And this is a team that has struggled a little bit, but they're kind of dangerous. They've beat teams, come up with some big wins at big times. So it's certainly not somebody that anybody should be looking past. Have you had a chance to look to see any of the St. Cloud stuff or talk to coaches?
I watched some of the film on them, and they're they're just like on fire one game, but they're having a real problem with consistency. Mm-hmm. But sometimes that comes with experience and time together. So I'm sure we'd have probably wished we'd have played like 6 or 7 or games with St. Cloud already, like Bismarck has, because they're going to be a lot tougher to deal with from here on out. If we don't go in there with the idea that we're going to have to play Wings hockey and be really tough on the puck, because they're going to be physical. I know they will.
Yeah.
And when they get good goaltending, they're hard to beat. And obviously they're gunning for us, because everybody is.
Yeah. Well, and as you mentioned, consistency has been an issue. But if you look back on many occasions, they were up. They have the lead through the first two periods. Sometimes even a 3-goal lead, and closing games out seems like it's been an issue. But as you said, with experience and with time on the ice, bonding, chemistry, all that kind of stuff, that's going to get easier for them to start closing games out. So a dangerous team, and like you said, a team that has been improving quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to see how the St. Cloud Blizzard. I still have a tough time getting used to that, but see how they stack up with the Aberdeen Wings. Wings right now on top of the division with 42 points. Bismarck in second with 38. Minot with 35 in third. Austin in fourth with 33. Then the Wilderness with 29 and St. Cloud with 20 at the bottom of the division. But like we talked about, that's still a pretty good hockey team in St. Cloud. One other point I wanted to talk about, Greg, was the season 10. Obviously, the X on the front of the sweaters, and it's really been cool to be celebrating this 10th season with the Aberdeen Wings. And I wanted to talk with you about you and your family. When you started this, did you see things shaping up the way that they have after 10 years? When you think back, was it exceeded expectations maybe, or?
Oh, it's at least met expectations beyond. That's for sure. I mean, all the local support we've had here and all the good friends we've had. I mean, it's just been a wonderful experience for our family, and we work pretty hard at it too. Nancy works endless hours in the store and previously concessions and lots of other things she does. And Chris helps with the building and the locker room, and Kirby and my farm crew have done a lot. And so we work hard at it, but we take a lot of pride in it. And it's just been so much fun that I can't even explain it, really.
Been great again, celebrating throughout the whole season. We'll be celebrating the 10th season with here in Aberdeen for the Aberdeen Wings. Okay, one final question for you. I got to ask about the Christmas video. What are your thoughts on that video? And are you ever going to make an appearance?
I highly doubt I'll make an appearance. The coach's show here might be my only claim to fame. We'll see. But no, it's pretty cool. I mean, I wasn't so sure about those pink bunny suits to start with. That sort of threw me for a Christmas thing. But the boys really acted well, and they played well in it. And it was really cool. It's like, I have a special place in my heart for every one of our Wings teams, just because I know the effort they put in. And this team here is, they're following. So they're following a Robertson Cup team with 5 or 6 returners, great leaders. Luckily, we're glad we got the 6 guys from last year.
For sure.
And, and they're following that legacy, and they're following the legacy of a 10th year team, So, and they're following they got to do the second annual Christmas video.
Yeah.
So I asked my wife how she liked it. She says, well, it was pretty good. So that's pretty much, what are they going to do to be better than this last year's team all the way around? And I figure they're going to win a Robertson Cup. That's where I'm headed. So we'll see. I don't want to blow their heads up, but I'm letting the world know we're coming.
Yeah. I think that fans love that video. I know it gets shared around a lot and stuff. And you're right. At the beginning of it, I thought, well, the pink bunny suit's got to be from the Christmas Story movie or whatever. But anyway, I really enjoyed last year's. But I like this year's even better. So like you said, I think they've outdone themselves, at least in that category. And it's tough to do that because that was a great video last year too. A lot of fun for the fans, parents, everybody likes seeing those. So, all right, well, Greg, I almost called you coach again.
I don't want that job.
All right, Greg. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show here. I appreciate you taking some time to talk with us a little bit about how things are going, what your thoughts are, and of course, a little touching on the fan bus and the season 10, all of that kind of stuff. So thanks so much.
Well, thank you, Jay, and I appreciate all your efforts. Everybody looks forward to your broadcast. As you know, if your broadcast is not there, we're all in an uproar. So that means we're all waiting for you. And I want to thank all the Wings fans and everybody out there. Let's have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Excellent. All right. We'll return with the second portion of Wings Weekly coming up after this. Welcome back as we continue on with Wings Weekly. Of course, Jay Kleinknecht here, and now joining me, Riley Murphy, Rockford, Michigan. Murph, for your second time on the show this year, but you just keep having these great weekends, and we gotta catch up with you.
Yeah, I know. I'm lucky to be on a couple times here.
Well, first things first, you scored your 12th goal and now a 14 assists. It's just, I mentioned it last time you were on. It's been really fun watching your game evolve. What's been the biggest difference? Is you're obviously clicking with Cade and Zach, and your line is, the line is producing a lot.
Yeah.
That's got to be part of it. But what are some of the other differences from, I don't know, last year, whatever? Is there something that's really clicking for you?
I'd just say it's just a mix of confidence and just like working hard, knowing that, we don't have a Brad Blyle or a John Sladek or Sokoli or a Joey here. Like if we're down in a game or something like that, like my line's got to be the line that goes out and scores or just gets momentum or something like that.
Well, that's a good point, because I know Jake Bonet, when he was on, I asked him a similar question, and his answer was oftentimes confidence does a lot for a guy, for sure. So, well, I got to talk about it, but and Greg Odie, of course, the team owner, just moments ago brought it up too. But that goal, I just was beside myself. I couldn't describe it enough, because your goal up in Bismarck, a very wise woman said that it looked almost as though everyone else was on pause and you were the only one moving. And I'm like, that was a very good way to put that, because I thought you looked like an NHLer against high schoolers. Like you're just moving all around. They couldn't get a stick on you. You find a space and snipe the upper right hand corner. And that was just amazing. Like, what's going through your mind at that point, or is it just?
I don't know. So when I get the puck behind the net, I think, and I was coming up around the net, and because Augie was going to the net, and he kind of set like a pick on the defenseman that was right there. So at first I was going to go around him, but then I saw another D-man coming, so I started turning. But then I saw Jacob coming down the ice, and I was like, oh, I should hit Jacob. And there's another D-man like right behind him, so I cut it back to the corner, and Langs and Haley always talk about using cutbacks. We just like a tight turn against the wall and then go back to the net. And, you'll lose the D, but whoever was on me, like, stuck tight on me. And I just made a move and kind of got lucky and then just went to the net.
It was an amazing goal.
Yeah.
Really was. Probably maybe the best or sweetest goal that I've seen at this level. That was amazing. I got a couple of things. Well, of course, the shootout winner on Friday night. What's that like? I mean, you said confidence is key. Obviously, you're confident enough to go out there and the spotlight's on you, the pressure's on. But what are you thinking at that point when you pick that puck up at center ice?
No, I remember sitting on the bench because we do like a shootout and morning skate on Fridays,
Mm-hmm.
and normally whoever does well in that will go in a shootout for the shootout. Well, like me and Pearson always like to mess around and just try like dumb stuff because we like to screw around like that. And so normally Pearson and I don't do super well in the shootout because we try just funny stuff. And so we're sitting on there, and I didn't think I was gonna go. And I was sitting there, I was like, all right, like if they score a goal, like I want to be the guy to go. Or like if we get to the third shooter and no one scored, then like I want to end it. Like, I want to end it because I remember I used to like shootouts all the time. Like the last couple of years, Joey's always the one that ended.
Yeah.
Joe's always the one that I was like, I want to do that. So then it got when he picked the second shooter, and he looked back at me, and I was looking at him, and he's like, I'm gonna go with Byers. So I was like, all right. And then Byers went, didn't score. Welsh saved another shot. I was like, Smacks, like let me go. And he's like, all right. So then I went.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was obviously to win at home like that. A lot of people there are a lot of people in the hockey world that kind of complain about the shootout, and that you spend 60 minutes playing your guts out and end up having it decided on one shot or whatever. But a lot of fans really enjoy it, and I know that the Odie was on its feet, and they were pretty excited for that win. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Makes skate with the Wings a lot more fun too, doesn't it?
Yeah. Skate with the Wings is terrible after you lose.
Yeah. Okay, a couple other things. You've been here, as all the Wings fans know, now in your fourth year. You've seen a lot of Wings players come and go through this locker room.
Yeah.
who would you say has had the biggest influence on you as a person and as, or maybe it's two different people, but as a person and as a hockey player?
Jeez. One is definitely Kevin Fitzgerald. I sat next to him my first year, and just watching like the way he played, like I try to play somewhat similar to the way he plays, but even like now he'll still like check in on me. He'll send me a text, be like, "Oh, like, how's the weekend? Blah blah blah. Like, what's going on? Like, so I had a good weekend." Or like last year, I remember before like I actually started scoring, he texted me, he was like, "Murph, what are you doing?" I was like, "What?" He goes, "Are you gonna start scoring, or like when do you want to start putting pucks in the net?" And I was like, "Oh, jeez." But no, Kevin's definitely one of them, and then
I kind of figured Fitzy'd be one of them.
Yeah.
And he had a big weekend for St. Cloud this weekend, too.
no,
Nice
I
goal.
saw he had a goal, yeah. And then I'd probably say Sikoi's another one. I mean, he just leads by example, just watching the way he worked and took
Right.
care of his body. Like, he's definitely one that I follow.
Yeah, work ethic for sure coming from him. It was amazing. You're known for being a little bit superstitious about, being the last off the ice. And there's been twice this year where I've seen where you've been the last one off, but then one of their guys will come out.
Yeah, Aaron texts me. Whenever they do that.
Yeah.
I never had my phone on me. I always had my phone, like, in the pocket of my suit. But Aaron, I know, like, after games, like, Aaron will text me, like, he came back out.
Aaron told me he was going to do that. And I'm like, look, he's going to see it now, but
Yeah, I know some guys, like, they'll, like, check their phones, but I can't look at my phone.
well, both times that resulted in a win. So
Yeah. So I normally don't worry about it. Like, lately, like, if someone, like, looks at me and they get off, like, I'm like, all right, like, I'll just get off. It's whatever.
All right, I talked to Greg about this too, but I got to ask you, what's it like putting those Christmas videos together? It seems like it'd be an awful lot of fun. Or is
Yeah.
it kind of stressful? Are there some guys that are like, oh man, I don't want to be on camera. I don't.
No, it's like, it's not stressful. It's like, it's fun. Like, Tiff gets everything, like, set up, like, all the lines cut to, like, what each guy got to do, and we all get to pick our parts. The most, like, annoying part about it is like, it's not hard for, like, me to do, but there's, like, some guys that, like, it's tough for them to, like, look dumb.
Yeah.
And when you, like, don't get into it, then you look dumb. Like, the dumber you look when you're shooting it, the better it looks after.
Right.
And some guys just, like, not into it. They're like a robot.
Well, it's not everybody can ham it up, like
Yeah.
especially on camera. It's not
Yeah.
always the easiest thing to kind of lay it out there. Like, well, David definitely.
Yeah,
he,
it's good.
he definitely was hamming it up, as I said. But so that's pretty fun. Of course, the crowd loves it.
Mhm.
Fans love it. Do you ever hear anything, any chirps or anything from other teams or anything? Because it's got to float around. I mean, you got to figure that people are.
I didn't hear anything this weekend. Last year, I don't remember if I heard anything, but I'm sure if we're going to get something, it'll be maybe like this weekend or following weekends after Christmas.
Right on. Well, that leads me to another question. What's the best chirp that you've ever heard? I mean, we got to keep it clean, but what's one where you're like, or I should say, maybe there isn't one, but has there ever been one where you're like, ooh, that was good? Like, yeah, he got me there or something.
I honestly have no idea. Like, you hear so much during a game.
You kind of just zone it out.
Yeah. I don't even know. No, okay. There was one time my first year, like, I didn't play a ton, right?
Yeah.
Me and Bagwell sat on the other bench, and we just, like, yelled at guys. And I don't remember what I was saying. I was saying something like I was, like, the greatest or something like that. Well, anyways, I was telling some guys something, and I had told the same kid the same thing, like, 7 games in a row. He's on my not. And he, like, Googled me and, like, looked me up and, like, found out it was just all fake. And it wasn't even that he chirped me. It was just the fact that he, like, put time into it and figured out that I was completely lying about everything I ever said to him. And he, like, called me out on the ice, and I was like, wow. All right, like, you win. Like, you put a good, like, 10 minutes into this, like, figure this out.
You're shook. You're like, what? I know. Back in the day, Johnny Walker used to say some stuff to guys from mine. I remember him.
Yeah.
He used to say some stuff that I'd hear, and I'd just be like, it just like take me my whole train of thought. Whatever I was saying, I'm just like, what? What did he just say? Like,
Yeah.
there's some pretty good ones out there.
Some guys used to say some pretty weird stuff
Yeah.
a couple of years ago.
Christmas traditions. Of course, got a weekend coming up against St. Cloud, but is there anything that you and your family do that you're really looking forward to, and that's something that generally you'll do every year?
We don't do a ton of like tradition stuff.
You
I
open
don't know.
presents Christmas morning versus
Yeah.
Christmas Day, kind of, or
Christmas morning. We
yeah.
do Christmas morning, so we can just like sit on the couch and do nothing. We normally get a bunch of movies. We'll just watch movies all day or something like that. We don't have a ton of traditions. We just kind
Well, I'd say that's one.
just kind of relax and like if anything, we just don't do much.
Yeah.
It's time to just rest.
Right on. All right. Well, St. Cloud coming up. This is a team that you guys have not seen yet. Have you? Is it? I know that weekend just got over with, but is it something that you guys have had a chance to kind of look at? What do you expect from St. Cloud? Because like I was talking with Greg about, they at times have gotten up early on teams. They've come up with some big wins at key moments. I mean, they're kind of a dangerous team.
Yeah, you see stuff on. I don't look at video a ton until like coaches show us video.
Mm-hmm.
But I see stuff on like Twitter and highlights and stuff like that, and like there's some stuff I see. But then I mean, you see stuff both sides, whether they're killing a team or it's the other way around, or I don't know. You see mixed stuff about all teams on social media.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to get a gauge, but I mean, no team in this league's bad. So
Right.
you got to be ready for a challenge.
Well, and that was the thing. I mean, they're at the bottom of the division. I kind of wondered if maybe it wasn't one of those things where some guys in the locker room might be like, we got this,
Yeah.
number 1 versus number 6. But that's not, like you said, not the case, especially in the Central Division, it
No.
seems like.
No.
All right. Well, hey, that's pretty much all I've got for you, bud. I appreciate you coming on the show, though, and it's been great, like I said, watching your game evolve and the success that you've had, and some huge moments like Friday night. It's just, it's been awesome. Definitely a contender for the Central Division Star of the Week. We'll see if that happens. It hasn't been announced yet, but you get my vote.
Thank you.
I'm a little biased, but let's see, folks. Friday and Saturday, December 20th and 21st, Wings versus the St. Cloud Blizzard there in St. Cloud. 7:10 puck drop both nights. Watch the game at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Aberdeen or log on to hockeytv.com. Tune in to 94.1 The Rock, hubcityradio.com, or The Rock app. The OD Ice Center Pro Shop will be open for additional holiday hours. Watch the Wings social media pages for times and dates. And I can tell you now, from 12 to 1 and 5 to 6, Monday through Friday, the Pro Shop will be open. If you want to get maybe a last-minute Christmas present for somebody, whether it be a sweatshirt or a hat, whatever it might be, the Pro Shop is going to be open noon to 1 Monday through Friday and 5 to 6 Monday through Friday. So check that out. All the latest news and information on the Wings, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remaining reserved season tickets and corporate night sponsorships are still available as well. Call Aaron for that at 380-5852. Once again, Murph, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And that is pretty much going to wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.